at their recent results, in the month of February, we've seen 2 losses for them. We've seen that loss against Girona. We've seen the loss to Atletico in the Copa semi-final first leg. We also saw that loss to Real Sociedad before this, which has allowed Real Madrid back in. However, it has been put back in Barcelona's hands. And ahead of it, Hansi Flick was asked if his players understood what was happening to the team and how to fix it.
They're convinced about what we are doing, about our style, you know, the way how we played last season, the philosophy, or also this season, are from 5 titles, we win 4 titles. So it's like that. And I think also the way I spoke with many players, how we want to play, they're convinced about that 100%.
You think they can turn things around here, Luis? You think it is just a bit of a stumble that they're going through, or are they just proving to be unpredictable right now?
Yeah, I think that they are a little bit unpredictable, I must say, and it's true that the consistency that Barcelona needs to have to become again the winner of La Liga, it has to be there, and it hasn't been. We heard also Dani Olmo mentioning that we are not going to change our idea, our philosophy, because a couple of games that we didn't get the result. But it's true that it's a massive concern, the high line, the problems that they have when they don't have the ball, the problems that they have when they make mistakes in the middle of the park, and the transitions became just a threat just because you just lost a ball in the middle. So Barcelona needs to really address the situation. I understand that you cannot change the whole way of playing, the whole idea, but just maybe make some adjustment, or even making the adjustment in some of the games. Probably 90% of the games you can play the same idea with the same way of playing and the same vision, but there are games, and it's been proven against Atletico Madrid, last year against Inter de Milan, where you got in front a team that it can make you struggle with that kind of situation. So just try to manage those moments, and I'm sure that Barcelona will get back to their best.
It's hard to put your faith in any of the top 2 right now, Real Madrid and Barcelona, as to who's going to go on and win this title, Stevie.
Well, it is, because, you know, Real Madrid basically are just not that good a team. You know, as much as they had gotten results up until today. But Barcelona, I mean, it's such a high risk reward way they play that when it goes well, they win 4-0. But when it goes badly, they're losing 3 and 4 goals as well. So, I mean, I don't know which way you're trying to push me here, but I can't go any way because you can't trust them.
It really is hard to go any way right now, isn't it, Sid? We don't really know what's going to happen this season.
No, I mean, I was watching Barcelona against Girona on Monday night, and you know, as you know, Kay, because we've been talking about this now for a year and a half, every time we talk about the high line, I always try and defend the idea of the high line, and I say that, look, as Hansi Flick said, they've won 4 out of 5 trophies. They're fantastic to watch. They almost won everything last year. They reached the Champions League semi-final. They won the league by some distance. They won the Copa del Rey. They won the Super Cup. They've just won the Super Cup again. And you sort of think, well, you know, it's not that bad. You try and defend it, and of course you try and see it in its context. And the context is that this high line can work if the pressure is good in midfield, if you break well yourself, if you can recover well at the back, all of these kind of things. And I was watching them on Monday night and thinking, you know, I've really tried to defend this model, but my goodness, you make it hard for me to do so, because Monday night was so clear cut, and it was so it felt so simple watching Girona run through them. Now, Hansi Flick is right when he says if our pressure is better in midfield, we can have that line high if everything works. But as Stevie rightly put it, the risk-reward balance is so fine that if you do get it wrong, if your timing is a fraction off, or you don't put that pressure on, or that line is a fraction uncoordinated, and one player plays people on side, then of course the chances you give up, it's not just that you give up some chances, it's that the chances you give up are one-on-ones. And so, yeah, sometimes you can watch Barcelona and think they're a great team who are hugely vulnerable. And I think Stevie's right to say, then you watch Real Madrid and you think they're not a particularly good team, but they don't feel quite so vulnerable. So they're not as good, but the results are essentially the same. And, you know, that's the bottom line. We're in a position now where the results have basically been the same this season. Whereas if you watch them, you'd say, yeah, one of them plays really good, fun football and the other just kind of doesn't.
You know, people probably listen to us because it's hard not to bring it up about the high line, right? People must go, oh, high line, here we go again.
They do.
But let me simplify this. If I was to go and sit my European badges and I was to do a defensive clinic and do what Barcelona's back line's doing, I would fail. They wouldn't pass me. Because nobody would say that's a good idea. I wouldn't pass the test. I wouldn't get my license. So this is why we keep talking about it. It is so against what you do as a defender. If there's pressure on the ball, you can hold the high line. If there's no pressure on the ball, then it's crazy. You're just completely gambling. And that doesn't make any sense to anybody. So that's what Barcelona are doing. They are 100% are gambling, and they're doing things defensively that nobody would turn around and back them and say, yeah, that's a good idea.